This is a spur of the moment message for you, okay? And I'm just going to take my time with it. It has to do with anxiety. Yeah, I think there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of anxious people all around. But one thing in particular comes to my mind, and it has to do with nomads. With what I believe is the number one thing that can create anxiety in a van dweller. And let's get going with that. I hope you watch it all the way to the end. And please subscribe. And I've got some tea for you. And let's get going, okay? Okay? Okay, what's the one thing that creates anxiety for a nomad? A lot of people think it's parking. Like at night, where do I park at night? I don't know where am I going to sleep? But I think the number one thing that creates anxiety in nomads is a vehicle breakdown, which is in a sense your home has now broken down. What are you going to do? Now you don't even have to worry about where you're going to park, right? It's going to be, where am I going to sleep? Outside of my minivan or my van, whatever, your RV, whatever. Where are you going to sleep? Not every mechanic is accommodating for that to say, oh yeah, you can sleep where your car's parked, you can get inside and sleep. Most of them, they lock everything up. They don't want people inside of their the facility. You know, they usually gate it up at the end of the day. And if your car's so bad, it's not like you can drive it out at night and then bring it back in the morning. Although I have seen that happen with some of my friends. Because it was something inside, like if it was an RV, I know my one friend, she had major refrigerator problems with her Class C, things like that. Well, she would take it and they would do a few things, but at night they knew she slept in it. She slept in it. I know. I get going and I get all excited about my message and my words and boop. Yeah, they go crazy. Okay. So, yeah, they knew that she slept in her Class C, so she would go and pick it up. And this went on for like 3 or 4 days one time. Yeah. But when you are a nomad and your car breaks down, oh my goodness, yeah. Like, what are you going to do? I've never had a major problem, okay? Usually it could be fixed within a certain amount of time, and they could get me out of there. Okay, I've never really, thinking back, I have never had to like get a hotel or anything like that. They could usually take care of it. Now, here's something that would be really hard to do, is body work. If you need body work, let's say somebody hits you and you need some body work done, that can take days. And I've heard of that. It just takes days, and they can't just do it in one day. So there you go. I mean, you would probably have to have either somebody, if you're in an area where your family are, you can maybe stay with them, or you're going to have to spend the money to go get a hotel. Yeah, and I imagine there are some issues, like an engine issue or something like that, to where it might take a couple days at the mechanic to get it fixed. But personally, I've never had that issue. Well, what really brought this to my mind recently was my friend in West Virginia. He's within the past 8 months, he's back in the States, and he now has a minivan. He bought it used. And he knows a lot about vehicles. He really does. He knows a lot, and he can fix a lot on his own. But this weekend, I got a message from him. Yeah. And he said, I can't. And he looked, and the whole message had anxiety written all the way through it. It was just, yeah, I really felt bad. My heart really went out because it's like, oh no. And then, of course, I related it to me, like, what if that was me? What would I do? I hadn't thought about that in a while. So it really brought it like to the forefront of my mind. Like, What would I do? Do I have a plan? Is anything in place that I would have to deal with? Well, he believes it was his wheel bearings on one wheel. And he said that he had, he works at Napa Auto Parts. He was a manager most of his life at Napa Auto Parts. So he's very, very well integrated into Napa, right? And auto parts and things of that nature. So that's where he gets a lot of knowledge from, for fixing cars and knowing what's going on. So he already knew that was the issue. But on his days off, and he's living in his minivan, on his days off, he takes off to another small town that he likes better than the one where he works. They have just more available to have fun with. The pool, hanging out, looking at the girls with the bikinis. All that's good stuff, you know. Yeah. Oh, I know, yeah. He said he kind of hobbled it back. He had to go real slow, and he hobbled it back. See, I couldn't do that because I'd be terrified because I don't know enough about automobiles and engines and wheels and all that good stuff. Yeah. Well, I would just probably call AAA, have it towed somewhere. Yeah. But it is so stressful. It creates high anxiety. Woo! Yeah, it really does. And if you live in a house, and I know a lot of you do, God bless you, and you live in a home, you might be thinking about being a nomad, or you really don't want to. A lot of you just like to watch me because I talk about all kinds of things. But then there's some of you who want to learn about the nomad life because you want to get started with it. Yeah. And so you want to learn these little things. So listen up, because this is a big deal for nomads. But if you're in a house and you never even think about it, you know what it's like to have a car issue, but you still have your home. I mean, it's not like you lost your home. They have to pick up your home, and they're going to take your home somewhere. Oh, where am I going to sleep? What am I going to do? All my stuff is in my home. You know, what do I do? What do I have to get out of there to go to a hotel? All that good stuff. So yeah, I mean, just imagine if they lift up your home and they take it someplace else. Yeah, it's the same thing with the vehicle. If that's our home, it's a big deal. Well, I said a prayer for him and typed it in, and says, well, I'll get a little prayer chain going for you and everything. And so he said, thank you. And then the next day he goes, well, I really am not that worried about it because when I get to work, and it's not too far away because I hobbled my car back, it's not too far away, and I can ask around of all the people. Napa, by the way, here's an offshoot. Napa Auto Parts is more for where mechanics go. I guess, I don't know if I said that right. It's the top place where mechanics go to get their parts. O'Reilly is more of like a place where the normal person just goes and gets their parts. That's why I'm a Napa girl, because they have really good parts. And they're just a little bit, I know some of you might agree, and that's fine. Some of you say, oh, I always go to O'Reilly. I'd never go to Napa. But I'm more Napa because I knew somebody that worked there, and I know that they work more with the mechanics. When they're a mechanic, they go to Napa. Probably not in every case, so I'm not going to say 100%. Every mechanic goes there, but and the only reason I say it is because some people really like to disagree with me, but that's okay. Don't disagree with me, okay? Don't do that. Don't even think about it. So I try to be careful with my words because, I could get it. Yeah, get it from all sides here. He said, when I go there, he goes, I can ask around with the shops that come to our place to get the parts, right? And he goes, and I'm sure it's that. I'm sure it won't take too long, and I can get it fixed. And it was a real reassuring, like he was under control. There was no anxiety written at all. It was all more peace and harmony was written in between the lines. I could read in between the lines, yeah. So, but my point is, when it first happened, oh my gosh, it's like the world ends. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, everything's falling apart. My world just fell apart. What am I going to do? I've lost not only my home, but my transportation, and I've lost my freedom. I think that's where a lot of that comes from. And if you're living in a house and you're not thinking about becoming a nomad or anything, I mean, you just like to watch me. Yeah, you just like to watch, or you like to watch nomad stuff. Right. I mean, you probably feel the same. It's like, oh crap, I just lost all my freedom. I can't really go anywhere. Do I have enough food in the house? Yeah, you're going to be thinking of all that. So it's not just totally just nomads who go through anxiety with their vehicle issues, but it is that double whammy because it's our home. Okay. So in my opinion, car issues, vehicle issues, engine check light comes on. Yeah, it's like, you know, if my check engine light comes on, my heart starts beating fast. I thought, oh crap. And I've even got one of the code readers that I can put on it, but still it's like, well, I know I'm probably going to have to take it to the mechanic. Because at any check engine light, some people say they ignore check engine lights, it comes on or it's always on. I have ignored it before because somebody actually told me that. And that was not a good plan. That wasn't a good plan at all. Had I not addressed it at some point. Well, actually the issue became more serious because I didn't go take it in to have it checked. Even though I had the code reader, they said, oh, you know, yeah. But what it was the cap on my radiator was letting air in, and it was creating an issue. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. So anxiety. But you can see in the beginning, I guess my point with my friend, my Napa friend, he had the anxiety, and it was there for those hours, right? When he had to drive his car back, and it was just like, oh, what do I do? But then on the other side of that, the next day, it was okay. So I wanted to I looked it up. 13 ways to cope with anxiety. And as nomads, we really do need to listen to this and see if we can use some of these factors, because just like I said, a check engine light coming on can create high anxiety, even more so for us because it's our home and we don't know what could happen, right? So, number 1, question your thought pattern. Okay, good. Yeah. How am I thinking about this correctly? Because even with my friend, he had high anxiety, but as he thought through the process, he realized, well, I mean, he's even better off than any of us. He works for Napa Auto Parts. Yeah. I mean, so it says, unhelpful thoughts can take root in your mind and distort the severity of the situation. Yes, a check engine light coming on, or, I mean, it was like a clunk. It was like such a scraping as the wheel was turning. It was, yeah, he said it was very noisy, and it was really hard. He couldn't go over 10 miles an hour, right? So one way is to challenge your fears, ask if they're true, and see where you can regain control of your anxiety. Because a lot of times if my check engine light comes on, well, obviously I'm driving when it does, when it first comes on, and I might be going, and I might be traveling. I mean, I really do travel sometimes. You might not think she never goes anywhere. Well, this summer, not too much. And I'm glad, because I don't have to go through anxiety in my car breaking down. But when I have traveled and that check engine light comes on, yeah, I have to gain control of my thoughts, because I do need to continue looking at the road, you know? I mean, if it's a red, if the check engine light is red, lines around it, that's severe. But if it's yellow, it still causes anxiety. Number 2, practice focused deep breathing. Okay, do you hear that, my friend? Yeah, Napa guy. Yeah. You're just gonna have to breathe a little bit and gain, because the heart is probably beating pretty fast. I mean, that's a good sign of anxiety, right? Okay, number 3, use aromatherapy. I don't know about that one. I live in a van, yeah, maybe. Exercise, absolutely. Although when you're driving, you can't really do that unless you really do want to stop at a rest stop if you're traveling or whatever. You want to get out and do some exercising. Maybe go for a walk. Just go for a walk or something like that, yeah. I mean, I've had it break down on the road. Okay, I've actually had it broken down on the road. So no, I really did. I was really stuck one time. I mentioned that I didn't. I was really stuck. I think I've told this story before, but maybe I'll leave it for another time, yeah. But they had an open parking lot, and I just had them tow me in, and it was on a weekend, and they weren't open Saturday or Sunday, and I just stayed in my van for 2 days. I really did, in their parking lot. One thing that can create anxiety is the fact that you might not have the money to get your car fixed. Or you think it's going to take so much and it's going to drain a lot of your emergency money. So the money factor can really create anxiety also. You want to make sure of your diet. Okay, you want to get rid of the sugar. Get rid of the grains and the sugars and things like that are going to turn to sugar anyways inside of your body. Stay active, and that would be with exercise. Keep your social life going. Don't just isolate yourself. Keep a journal, okay? And do a daily or routine meditation. That does include prayer. Okay, yeah, if you're going to meditate, a lot of times just saying prayer and praising God, that is a good meditation, right? Oh, well, it says ask about medications. No, I'm not even going to recommend that. Don't get on medications. I'm not a medication girl, and I don't recommend them. There's too many side effects. Yeah. Therapy, yeah, maybe. Identify and learn to manage your triggers. They could be work. It could be, hey, yeah. It says here, side effects of certain medications. Oh my gosh, duh. Oh, of course, withdrawal from drugs, yeah, and medications. Past trauma, chronic pain, caffeine, and smoking. Yeah, caffeine and smoking. I actually do feel better since I've gotten off coffee. Now, I know this is sort of an improv. I really didn't do much planning on this, but it really came to my mind. The main theme that I want to offer you is that, like my friend, he had the anxiety, and once he thought about it, because way at the beginning, the first point was question your thought pattern. Yeah, eventually, right away you might not do that, but eventually, once he thought about it, he went over to this side, and he says, oh, it's not that bad. I mean, it is going to be a hassle. It's going to cost me probably a lot of money because mechanics are so expensive now, and it is going to be a bother. I mean, it's going to be a bother to my life, to the system, to my routine, but it's going to get fixed. I know a lot of other mechanics. I actually work for a auto parts place. It's not that bad. Life is good. Life is good. Yes, I am so blessed, right? But he went from this to this, and not too much time in between. Okay? So please know that if you're going to become a nomad, the point is that the highest anxiety can be vehicle issues. Yeah, breakdowns, yes. So I really do suggest one thing that has always helped me is AAA. I have AAA, and I have the platinum. I have the top echelon of the membership. I have the top because I want as much as I can get out of them. And believe me, I have it's my membership cost has been paid for over and over and over. It wasn't that long ago. I can tell you about that story too, but not today. Where, again, it wasn't that long ago. I locked myself out. And I did it last year too. And the guy that came to rescue me and help open my door, he didn't recognize me, but I recognized him. And I said, oh, I know you, John. And he goes, I said, Planet Fitness last year? He goes, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I get to know the people in the area, that work with, that have a contract with AAA. So, I've had tows before, getting my car towed. At least I know with Platinum that I can tow my car 200 miles. I have at least one or two tows that are 200 miles. Up to 200 miles, yeah. So if I need to tow it, I can take it to Phoenix, yeah, and not here, yeah. Okay, well, was this helpful? Let me know in comments if this was helpful. I like to address things that have to do with van life, obviously. But you know me, if you've been watching me a while, I like to talk about things that just are life. Because I am much more than a nomad. I live here. I've lived here for 7 years. This is my life. I do think of other things besides van life stuff, Yeah, I got my bucket. No, I think about, socializing and friendships and things that are psychological and things that will help me live my best life, right? Health-wise, emotional-wise, philosophically, psychologically, yeah. Okay, everybody, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if it was, and let me know what you want to hear about. Okay, because I love doing filming, I really do, and I love talking to you, and I love editing. So please, so I like to do this every day, but I want to know what you want to hear about. I really do. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up, everybody. Mwah. Till tomorrow, let me know. I want to hear from you. You always hear from me. I want to hear from you, okay? Okay. Bye.